And everyone, and welcome to Passionately Speaking, our weekly class where we talk about public speaking, both in beginning topics and advanced. And today our topic is how to turn a mess into a success. And you'll find, if you haven't already, that sometimes the best plan, the best practice, the best rehearsal, but things still go wrong once you step on stage because there's things that we have no control over. Sometimes it's the location, sometimes it's the sound, sometimes it's the technology, and sometimes we just don't feel good for some whatever reason. Maybe, something happened and we just don't feel good. So how do we kind of turn that kind of messy environment and make our speech actually be successful? Okay, so we're going to start with technology because that seems to be the number one mess up always in people's presentation. Now, as I've said a million trillion times, we don't do PowerPoint or any of that technology if our speech is 30 minutes or less. You just don't. Why? It's not because of the technology, but it's because you, as a speaker, need all the time you can get to be in front of your audience as honestly and authentically as you can with your heart open, exposed, so that your audience will fall in love with you and want to do business with you. Now, we'll talk about the virtual in a few minutes. You might be thinking, well, what about virtual? All right, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But right now I'm talking about live speaking. And I know some of you, you want that PowerPoint. I'm telling you, you're losing sales. Do what you want, but you're losing sales. So here we are, both Dawn and I are in what's called prepping for contests, right? Now, Dawn loves cardio. She loves to do cardio, but cardio will take away muscle. Yes, it does. It leans you out, but it leans you out at the expense of what? Muscle, because you already are fat is gone. So what does it have to burn and to use? Muscle. So right now, the coaches say for her, no cardio, right? Remember, everything you get, you lose something. If you want early and work out, you lose your sleep, right? Everything you get, you lose something. Well, or think of it, everything you give up, you get something else, something different. But the key here is the same in speaking, right? You want that PowerPoint, right? But guess what you're losing? You're losing sales. Do you want to lose sales that you've worked so hard for? Does Dawn want to lose muscle that she worked so hard for? No. So stop it. Do not use PowerPoint. Your presentation is not your PowerPoint. Get comfortable without it. And I've seen you all do it in a 30-minute speech. Stop it. No matter how fancy it is and how many sizzle reels and sizzle things, you are burning your muscle. You are losing your sales. I guarantee it. There's nothing you can do because every time a person looks at PowerPoint, they're not looking at you. And every time they're looking at PowerPoint, they're not building a relationship with you. And every time they're looking at that PowerPoint, their heart is not opening and going out to you. Just remember that. Give it up. Give it up. Okay? It does not help you. It is hurting you and taking away your muscle, your speaking muscle, your sales muscle, all of it. Again, we'll talk about power in virtual in a minute. So if you have like now Ardina has 90 minutes. Ardina, you can use PowerPoint in your presentation because it's a workshop. It's no longer a speech. It is a workshop and you can use it. If you're in your own room, you can use it. But most of the time, if you're in your own room, you're going to have an hour or more anyway. But most stage speaking, we do not have that kind of time. that allows us to have that PowerPoint. Even if you go into a real estate office and they have that screen, if you've got 30 minutes or less, do not use PowerPoint. I don't care if they offer it to you, if they bribe you. They don't know better because their meetings always use PowerPoint, but their meetings are usually longer than 30 minutes anyway. If you want to connect to your audience and really make a difference and open their hearts, you've got to leave the PowerPoint at home. All right? Got it? Now, let's say it's Ardina and we've got 90 minutes. And now we're going to use PowerPoint in somebody else's room that we have no control over. And this has happened. It's happened to me, right? It's happened to me. You typically take a little device, right? A USB device, and you connect it to their computer, right? A lot can happen. They could have an Apple. Yours could be configured for more of a Microsoft. What you need to do always, if you're going to go somewhere else, you need to bring your own laptop just in case, and your own USB also just in case. You need to get there 1 hour before that starts. No longer 30 minutes, it's an hour, because you've got to make sure the technology is all set up and that you've practiced it. Also, your own clicker, because you could get a clicker that doesn't work and it messes everything up. There's nothing worse than the clicker not working or them not have one, and you have to tell somebody, change slide, change slide, change. And that's happened to me. I was speaking for a big, for Toyota, big Toyota out here in Ontario for a big leadership meeting. They had people of all ages there. And I had to go next slide because I didn't bring my clicker. And I assumed they would have a great clicker. So you bring your computer, you bring your USB, and you bring a clicker, right? You can have it all in like a nice little bag. You don't have to bring the screen and all that, but you want to bring, again, I'm talking about over 35 minutes. So that means if you have 45 minutes, if you have an hour, if you have 90 minutes. If it's under 30 minutes, you don't bring any of that stuff. You don't even do that stuff. Okay, so here we are. We're at a real estate office. We're setting it all up. We're an hour early, right? Set it all up. Now, a lot of times you're going to have people that go ahead of you. There's going to be multiple speakers. If it's an event where you get an hour or more, typically there's other speakers. It's an all-day event. So you can't always get there earlier and test it out. But usually they have a little break ahead of time, which you can plug everything in. And then you're going to have to test it. So here I am. I'm at this big sales seminar, right? And it's my turn to go. And I've given my stuff and it doesn't work. Something happened with their computer. It didn't work. And I had an hour presentation. So what did I do? I did it anyway. I did it without the PowerPoint. And halfway through, they got it running. They're scurrying to get it done. They got it running. And then we picked it up. I didn't need my PowerPoint to do my training. I didn't need my PowerPoint to as a crutch to know where I was, right? I could just pick it up. And that's what you need to do with your workshops, with any speech. You need to know it. It doesn't need to know you. And that's what PowerPoint does, right? I see it all the time. And I see people doing their PowerPoint the night before. They're up till 2:30 in the morning putting their PowerPoint together. Don't do that. That's ridiculous, right? Get your sleep. You have a job to do. You have a speech to give. That audience deserves your very best, not your very worst. When I'm talking about turning a mess into success, I'm saying you don't want to be that mess. The mess usually happens around you, not to you. Don't do it to yourself where you don't have enough sleep. So here I am, picked it up, no problem, kept continuing. I got applaud because I didn't let it stop me. the seminar leader loved me because I didn't hold up the seminar. I just kept going. Now, I've done a lot of events with a lot of speakers in the past, and many of you, like Renee, has been to them in the past. And we had many different, PowerPoints because they all got 90 minutes, right? Back in the day, they got 90 minutes. So we would have in a weekend, 2 or 3 days, we'd have like 13 speakers, right? So in this one case, this woman came up and her PowerPoint didn't work. All right. All the technical people in the room, of course, come out and they all want to help. And we waited. We had a break beforehand, but the break got longer and longer and longer because they could not figure it out. And I asked her if she could go on stage without it, and she refused. She would not go on stage without her PowerPoint. By the time they got it fixed, whatever it was, and it was an incompatibility issue, right, for whatever reason, with whatever she put on her USB, and but finally they got it running, and I don't know if they downloaded it again or something, but they had to do something clever, and she was frustrated by the time it happened. So she walks up on stage and walks out of her shoes. She had sandals on, which is not what I recommend when you're on stage, right? But she had sandals on. She walked out of her sandals and kept walking and complained about it. She goes, my PowerPoint didn't work, and now, I walked out of my shoes or whatever. Whatever, right? And she gave her whole presentation barefoot. Now, I'm telling you, this was 20 years ago. So this is when speakers wore suits. This is a little more corporate-like speaking back then than it is now. It's a little more casual. But I don't care if it's casual now or not. You do not speak barefoot. It is tacky, unless you're on the beach or something and you're at a luau. But if you're not, it's tacky, it's unprofessional, it's just gross. All right? And she did her whole presentation like that. And at the end of it, you know how many sales she made? Zero. Everything you do on stage will affect your sales. And when it affects your sales, if it's a multi-speaker event, guess what? The house gets 50% of your sales. So now it affected me. I paid for that seminar, and now she came for free to deliver, and her speaking fee is 50% of her sales. She made no sales. So guess what? I didn't invite her back again. So now her future sales were affected. Are you getting this, ladies? How important this is? Her future sales were zero in effect because I didn't invite her back. You have to be able to go on the stage no matter what. That's how you turn that mess into a success. You don't keep messing it up by fretting about it and going, oh, I can't go on without it. You make it a success by you knowing your stuff. You know your product. You know your speech. You step on and you do it anyway, no matter what happens. Another scenario, I go and I'm speaking at Fleming's, right, in Newport Beach. I'm so excited. Fleming's, ooh, I get a free lunch at Fleming's, ooh, right? But they put us in this small room. There was no place for the speaker. It was just round tables, and it was a little room. It wasn't the main room. I was like in a corner speaking, and there were waiters going by me, right? Now, I could have got flustered. I could have freaked out. I could have made comments. But no, I kept focused. I kept the attention on me and not on the waiters, and delivered the presentation I was meant to deliver. Of course, it was 30 minutes or less, so no PowerPoint, but and that's what you want anyway, because you're at a restaurant, you have no control. You don't want to be a schlepper and schlep your screen and schlep all that stuff, right? even guys that I know that do it, that talk about finance and financial stuff, they want to do all that. Why? You don't have it when you go visit a client in their office or at their home. Insurance people go knee to knee. They've been going knee to knee for years. They don't have PowerPoint at the kitchen table. Why do you think you have to have it to sell? You don't. It's just going to mess things up, right? So PowerPoint can mess you up. And also, let's see what the positioning, like I said, at the restaurant, that can mess you up. You have to go in early and decide where you're going to stand. And then you stand there. If it's not working out, if you're too much in the line of fire of the waiters, move. There's nothing that says you can't move to another place. You can make a joke and go, oh my God, I'm going to get run over here. I better go and speak from over there, right? Just make a joke out of it and move, right? Move. All right. So let's some other scenarios that you could turn a mess into. Positioning. I've seen speakers come late, right? Traffic, things that they couldn't control, right? How do you recover from that? You have to come in and own it. You have to own it. You can't pretend. You can't say, oh, traffic. You have to own it. You know, you have to apologize. And I know we never say we're sorry, but we're talking about sorry. This is a different kind of sorry. This is a rapport sorry. This is a, hey, I didn't leave the house early enough. I'm a dumbass. I'm going to apologize to you, right? You have to own it. So sometimes that's in order to make everybody feel good because they've all waited for you for 30 minutes. I'm not talking about 5 minutes. I'm talking about a significant amount of time. And I've seen that happen. Okay. But the only way you can turn that into a success is owning it, apologizing, owning it, and move on and move past it. Don't keep dwelling on it. Move past it. All right. You have to be careful with props. You have to make sure that the props work right. You have to practice with the props. Some people, need a lot of props. I don't use props, but some people need a lot of props. You've got to practice with them because if something happens, they can get messy. Again, if they get messy, you own it, you apologize, and move on and move past it. What about people in your audience? How do you deal with them when they get kind of messy and mess up your presentation? You've got to control them as well, as nice as possible. Remember, everybody in that room lives vicariously through you and your communication with one. So if you get upset at one, they all feel it. If you love on one, they all feel it. So you want to be respectful to the whole entire audience, but you want to make sure that you show the love. So here I am, I'm at the Rio in Las Vegas speaking to a big group of people, and there's chatter in the back of the room, the sales table, right? Some people go to the sales table later, whatever, but it's pretty loud. And I'm right in the beginning. I'm right in my story. I'm right in the rapport building piece, right? And they were loud. So I stopped. I was quiet. The best way to get somebody to be quiet is to stop talking. You don't have to say anything. Just stop talking and look at them. Look their way. And they feel it, and usually they're quiet, right? So I stopped talking. I saw that they looked up, and I just said, could we have the same respect that we gave you? Right? Because it was a speaker that they were speaking to. Can we have the same respect that we gave you? They knew what we were talking about. And they went outside and chatted. You have to control the situation. If you let it go, it's going to get worse, it's going to be messier, and it's going to be harder to control. The audience can't control it. The audience can't turn around and yell, shut up, right? You have got to control the audience. You've got to control the environment. You've got to control it all. If it gets really hot in there and you see, come on, we all seen it. If we see people going like this and there's more than one, right? I mean, one person could be their own summer or something, right? But if we see a lot of our audience members going like this and we're hot, but we think we're hot because we're on stage, it's time for you to do something about it. Hey, excuse me, who's the host, whatever the host's name is, call them. Say, hey, can we turn the air conditioner on? Can we make it cooler in here? You've got to. Your audience will love you. Nobody buys if they're hot, and I've noticed that. Nobody buys if they're hot. Now, let's talk about the sales table for a moment. You're all have seen them. You've all walked back to one. You've all purchased from one, I can guarantee you. And they're still alive today. And we call them booths now or whatever. You're going to have your own booth, or you're going to have your own table, or you're going to have your own seminar with the whole sales table. Now, when you're on stage, and if that table is not set up right for sales, you don't sell, right? So here I am one day, my one-day seminar, and I've told my assistant this, but she let it go. There's some woman that came in with a cast on. She sits at my table and she frickin' puts her leg on my sales table. Now, could I go and do sales after that break? No. No one would have gone back there. It wasn't inviting. I couldn't say something from the front of the room because everybody lives vicariously. So if I would have said, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, could you get your leg off my table? Wouldn't have gone over. So I had to wait for another break. I had to stop, go back there, and kindly ask her to sit in the audience, and we'll get you a chair. My assistant, I hold responsibility. I must not have trained her well enough. Thought I had, that she needed to take care of that situation and let their leg, she just wanted her leg up. I don't blame her, but let's do it in a chair in the audience, not on my table. And my assistant was sitting back there at the table. That's the only one I allow back there, right? So you have to do that kind of control. If I let it go, it would have been a mess. I would have got sales. No one's going to go up there with some woman with her cast leg on your table. Are you getting this? Right? Right, Ardina? I mean, it just ain't going to happen. And I hope, Ardina, you're going to have something you're selling at your event and that you have your sales table. And if not, you call me and we'll talk more about that. But even though you planned on it, I planned on this break, I was going to do, you have to make sure everything's conducive for that to make it a success, because you only get maybe 1 or 2 shots at selling, right? I would always have 2 sales opportunities in my events, but everything had to be right. Another way that you can mess it up real good is if you take questions when you're in your close, right? Once we do our close, you don't stop. Hold on just a second. This is my trainer. Hey, Mark. Okay, it must have been Butco. Anyway, and I made this mistake. I'm in my clothes. I'm in my zone, and I'm talking to the audience. I'm in my invitation, and I see a girl raise her hand, and I said yes because I thought she was going to ask me something that had to do with what I was talking about, and no. She asked something totally different that took everybody's attention way over here, off of my sales, I got out of my zone, and it blew my sales, right? And that was my final sale that day. It blew it. I learned the expensive way, not the hard way, the expensive way. So when you're in your sales, don't let anything interrupt you. If somebody's hand goes up, you just ignore it and didn't even see it. You didn't even see it. You don't say, oh, excuse me, I'll answer that later. No, you just don't see it, right? You're in the zone. You got to stay in your invitation. Nobody knows really. And then after a while, they'll put their hand down, right? You don't want to sacrifice one person or sacrifice 99 people for one person. If they get mad at you and don't buy, they probably weren't going to buy anyway. That's why they're not considerate that you were in your sales zone. They weren't drawn in. They're like thinking of their own little story in their head. So they're not a candidate anyway. So forget about them. Forget about them. Okay, got it? All right, so let's talk about messy virtual. How can it be messy? How can you fix a mess in virtual? All right, so because we have some virtual people here, before I launch into it, let me ask you, what have you done that you saw a mess and how did you fix it in the virtual world? All right, I know Dr. Love, you've done some, Katrina's done some, I think Ardina, you've done some. What did you do to fix it? What happened in the virtual world and how did you fix it? Or did you? Renee, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, first, Arvee, I love your presentation. Great content. I've been typing and typing and typing and typing. Great content. Thank you so much. So there was something happened to my computer. I'm not technology savvy at the time, and the Canva didn't upload or download, and Jim wasn't here to save me. He was traveling. I said, okay, this is what Arvee says, because I remember I told you I hear my voice. Pretend there's no electricity, pretend, but I have the Zoom and there's people in front of me. I just did it without nothing. So I had some notes, but I just talked to them as if.
Beautiful. And it worked out fine.
Yes, but because you prepare us for this emergency, and it is about ignoring people. You know, don't take their questions because they'll talk about something else about them. Because some people are self-centered, so you ignore that. So I've had it in real life, real time, as well as on Zoom. So okay, so that
Beautiful.
I'm complete. Thank you, Arvee.
Good. And you know, you have such a beautiful background, Renee, that, you know, and you're so beautiful. You don't really need PowerPoint. Just let people feel your energy and feel you. And, you know, you don't need any PowerPoint or Canva or all that stuff that I've seen, you know, sometimes you use. Just be you. I mean, you're love. You're just all love. That's all. We feel it from you. Remember, if we
Thank
do
you.
PowerPoint, then whatever we're igniting either disappears or it disappears at least 50% because our attention is, you know, is crossed. Even though we see your face, we're really seeing the PowerPoint. That's what you are having us focus on. PowerPoint doesn't sell. PowerPoint doesn't love. PowerPoint doesn't act authentic. PowerPoint doesn't take your speech from here to here. It just is straight, right? Now, doesn't mean you can't use it sometimes, sparingly, right? Like to put a picture of your family up there, or in Ardina's case, a picture of her art there. I mean, there's going to be, but to have it like be words and have pictures with the words every single time, unless it's a workshop, and I do it too. If it's a workshop, that's different because if you think about it, I only do it now, I mean, for my 3-day, because it's a 3-day. I need you to pay attention to other things than me. I would be a talking head after 3 days. You're going to be bored to tears, right? So there, you just have to know when to use it. Mostly I'm talking about in like 30-minute presentations. Just use it sparingly if you're in the virtual world. Just a little bit. It's okay to turn it off and turn it on and turn it off. I'll share my screen. I won't share my screen. It makes it like, oh, something's coming. It gets their attention. It's like an attention grabber. but it's a distraction if all it is PowerPoint. Now it's like, okay, I'm bored. I'm going to go to my phone, right? That's what we're competing with in virtual world. We're competing with the phone and everything else in their office. Unlike when they're sitting there, you know, in front of us, we have a little bit more control over them, even though the phone sometimes they go to. Yeah, okay, so thank you. Thank you, Dr. Renee. All right, Ardina, let's hear your experiences.
You know, I did have a situation once when I was speaking. I think I had like 3 minutes. And I did have a few slides, just the before and after, but I didn't have the clicker. And that was number one. Number two, it just wasn't clear. I don't know, I don't remember if it was light coming in or what, it just was not good. And honestly, I just kept going, but for me, it felt like, darn, it is not working, you know.
Right.
I did have that experience.
Well, and I, you know, and I did too. When I did the Fit, Fame, and Fortune, right? The way the hotel was that I had no control over the lighting.
Yeah.
And if the lights were on, you could hardly see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, that's right.
Lights off, now people in the dark. Now you tell me as a speaker, which one is the best option?
I would have rather just had it off.
The light, have the light.
Not the lights.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Dark. See, remember, it's not about PowerPoint. It's me speaking on stage, and the PowerPoint is just my support system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I didn't want to make it about the PowerPoint. Now, when a video came on, felt really moved people, then I turned off the lights, if you remember. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you put people in the dark, they're going to go to sleep. Right? And then they can't see you as a speaker being animated and your power of your love coming out of your chest. So if it's an option between a dark room and seeing a visible PowerPoint, like what you're saying, go for you. It's not about the PowerPoint. So they didn't see it real well. Who cares? Right? It's you, the speaker, that we need to see. It's you, your energy that we need to feel. And if it's dark, we're not going to feel it. Mm. So go for that. You can make one quick apology. I'm sorry, the lighting isn't good, but you know, whatever. You could say, you can always bring your art. You know, I know that art doesn't look good, but I want to show you what it looks like in real time. Mm-hmm. I've told you a million times, Ardina, your art sells when people see it for real, not on PowerPoint, not even as a background. But when I saw it and I touched it and I saw the beauty of it, mm-hmm. and undeniably gorgeous. So I would not speak without bringing 2 or 3 pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Stuff. Ladies, if you haven't seen her stuff, you have to see it. You have to. Amazing. You know, it's just the quality of the material she uses is incredible. I got chills. It's
Thank you, Arvee.
So beautiful. Yeah. Now, I missed the picture of your mom being behind you. Where is that? Oh, there it is. There's Mom. Okay. That's better. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, so don't worry about that. You did good. A little light on it. Who cares? Show them the real thing. And you might even think about a sample piece, not one of your best maybe, but a sample piece that you could pass around in the audience, but only like when you're not saying anything important, you know, like when you're saying, I just want to take a few minutes. I want you to feel it. Feel that. Look at the outside. You can actually choose what you want, you know, just little chit chat talk, not anything really like a lesson or important, not during sales, of course. And then you collect the piece back, you know, you could. Because I'm telling you, you get that thing in people's hand and they see the dimension and they see that crystal clear whatever you use on top of it, you know, it's just powerful, just powerful.
Thank you. Can I ask you one more quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the other thing was I did speak somewhere else, and I knew already that they were going to do a Q&A at the end. So prior to that, can you request that how would I change that? Because I definitely didn't get any sales out of that. So we did have a Q&A after I spoke.
Yeah. How much time did you have to speak?
That one I think was either 3 or 5 minutes. I think it was 5 minutes.
That's probably why you didn't get any sales, mostly because it's 5 minutes. All you can do in 5 minutes is get interest and have someone come and talk to you more about it later. We can't sell, don't even try. But so they had you speak 5 minutes and then 5-minute Q&A?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would ask them, I would say, you know, I could get more value, I could give more value if I had that 5 minutes to speak, and then just invited those that had questions to come and see me later, you know, at my table or at the wherever you were eating or whatever. So just encourage them, because a lot of people, they still are playing around with the old model of speaking. They don't know any better. You know, some of these hosts and stuff that aren't speakers, they just don't know any better. They do it the way they've always done it, you know. So they're just in a Q&A. But I always say, well, you know, is it okay if I add more value? And then just get those people that want to ask me a question privately. You know, would that be okay? Usually they always say yes. I've never had anybody say, well, no, you know. And I always ask them too, because sometimes they surprise you with a Q&A. You have to be careful of that one. Here you are, did your speech, you set your attention, you know, your memorable statement, take your bow, start to walk back, and then they're like, wait a minute, is there any questions for Arvee? I'm like, oh crap, you know. You just have to come back and then again, if that happens, so that it's successful, there's going to be a pause, and you don't want to come back and go, oh, no questions, and look like a dweeb, right? So you just say, when they come back, just say, oh, yes, great, I'd love to take questions. But before I do, a typical question, just to get it out of the way, a typical question that's always asked me is, what do I wear now when I speak? And then I talk about that, and then I go, are there any other questions? But I got to think about a question, and then they would ask it. Otherwise, you've got this awkward silence. We all have questions that are always asked us, right? All of us, right? Dr. Love, you probably get the same question over and over. So just address it right up front, right? And get it out of the way. And then people think, if nobody asks a question after that, you go, great. All right. Any more questions? No? Great. God bless. Boom. And get off the stage.
Got it.
So yeah, no one wants to look awkward or feel awkward. No questions. I've heard some people say, oh, well, then I did a good job, right? It's just you haven't had time to think yet, about a question. It's like if I said to you, tell me a joke. Are you going to be able to tell me a joke immediately? No, your brain goes, right? So same with the questions. People need time to think about it. Okay, good. Good. Well, hello, Ramona. I didn't expect to see you tonight.
Oh, my client was an older gentleman. He forgot. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to come home. I'll just call him and reschedule. So that worked out.
Good. Good idea. Great to have you. All right. So we're right up at we have about 5 minutes. Does anybody have anything else they want to say, share, or talk about? Any other mishaps that you might have had that you've solved that turned into a success, or anything else you want to talk about? No? Oh, here we are. Here we are. Exactly the example I just used. Okay. All right, then. Okay, then we will end. Remember that we're not going to meet for the next Alvee, and Ramona and Don and I are all going to go in Puerto Vallarta. I got a great week planned for us. It's awesome. Ardina got to go last year, and it was a lot of fun, right? Dawn still talks about rooming with you.
Let's see. Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, talks about that. So, yeah. So, that's it. So we're going to go and have a great time, but we'll be thinking about you and we'll be talking about, not talking about you, but talking about speaking. And I hope you take advantage of this next couple weeks and go into the archives and do a report. Great topics that we've had in the past. Until then, get out there and speak. And when you do, remember to always speak with passion. Mwah.
Thank you,
Bye,
Arvee. Safe
Safe
travels. Safe
travels.
travels. God bless you
everyone.
and your team.
And we had an amazing time last year. It was really great.
All right. Bye.